resource. Just a few months ago in West Central Saskatchewan, a company that is heavily vested in our province, and we welcome their investment. There's many others, by the way, but I'll single them out because of their announcement a couple of months ago that Bill and I attended. Petrobank announced that they would be piloting the use of their Total Heel air injection system, that they're also using in a heavy oil development in northern Saskatchewan to try to reanimate, to try to reinvigorate existing and thought to be probably mature heavy oil assets right near where Bill. You seem to be particularly happy that day, Bill. It's because it's right in the backyard of his constituency where they're going to be deploying a lot of this technology. That's a more recent example of the kind of enhanced oil recovery projects that we're seeing, and we want to facilitate as a government. We want to be there with direct investment through the PTRC in partnership with companies, and we want to be there with the right royalty incentives at where this EOR makes sense. And we will be a clarion voice for this international cooperation on the technology as well. So we have this amazing resource as a foundation to this innovation agenda, complemented by what I think will be amazing potential with respect to oil sands development in the Northwest, where exploration is currently happening, but we do not yet have economic scale production of oil sands yet. We're also very proud to have a great regulatory environment in our province, and we're always trying to be better on that front, by the way, but we also have a very competitive royalty structure, something that we also prize and are willing to look at improving, frankly, in the months ahead. And I want to acknowledge the staff that we have in Energy and Resources in our government who do a fantastic job on turnaround to make sure that this resource base continues to be the asset that it is, because we are working with companies to see it develop sustainably, but that our turnarounds are quick and that we're responsive to the interests of the industry. I think it's paying off. The Petroleum Services Association of Canada said Saskatchewan will see a 22% increase in drilling this year, something that we obviously welcome. In terms of this resource strength, we also are Canada's third largest producer of natural gas. So there's the inventory. Just as important, though, as this impressive resource base is the sacred gift of brilliant, intuitive, and innovative minds. And you've heard a lot of this before, but it all bears repeating, and I get paid to repeat it. Regina is home to the Petroleum Technology Research Center at the University of Regina that is continually developing these new techniques in enhanced oil recovery, like the kind that have helped unlock the long thought to be mature assets of the Bakken Play and now the Lower Shaunavon, and we're seeing some action in the Viking. The Greenhouse Gas Technology Center is doing leading work on greenhouse gas emissions, capture and containment. And then there's the International Test Center for CO2 capture, a one-of-a-kind facility that no less an authority than the International Energy Agency describes as world-class. There's the Weyburn-Midale Sequestration Project. I won't have to get into details there. But by the end of that project, know this, that the equivalent of 8 million cars will have been taken off the road for at least 1 year in terms of what's happening out in southeast Saskatchewan. We have this amazing inventory, these centers of excellence, and the intuitive minds, the brilliant minds that go with them. As a government, we want to build on that strength. We know it'll take some investment, but if there are to be answers we can help provide with respect to cleaner coal technology and more efficacious CCS and other, frankly, renewable technologies, we're only going to do it by making those investments at our universities and at these centers of excellence. There may also be, in the months ahead, and here we will need the help of others and the decision of the national government, there may well be in the months ahead an announcement of another Center of Excellence at the University of Saskatchewan, a nuclear research center of excellence. As you know, the province of Saskatchewan has made a proposal to the national government who asked for proposals with respect to the issue around medical isotope production. If you saw the news here lately, you will know that there is another medical isotope plant, nuclear plant, that is a reactor that will be closing down in Europe for maintenance, be closed for 6 months. And at CBC last night, they were forecasting again another shortage because Chalk River is not yet ready to go. Won't be ready to go till April, and we know it's not the long-term solution. We think Saskatchewan can be part of that long-term solution. We think the Research Center of Excellence, by the way, isn't just going to be about medical applications for nuclear products. We also think Saskatchewan can be a leader in the development in the continued development of small reactor technology on the energy front. You know, more and more companies around the world and more policymakers around the world are having a look at small reactor technology potential. We know that technology's been around for a long time for distributed nuclear power. Just ask the US Navy. Its application to distributed power needs in an economy a little bit different, and so research is underway by a number of companies. One of the problems in terms of testing that technology, industry tells me, is that the queue, the lineup with the American regulator to deploy some technology and test it out is long. 5, 7, 8, 10 years long. Could Canada provide some answers here? We have a new regulator in our country that's signaling a powerfully, I think, constructive new direction with respect to the development of the nuclear industry in our country. Could we use that advantage and maybe the advantage of a willing partner in the government of Saskatchewan to advance the notion that maybe we can see the testing of these new potential distributed power technologies, we can advance the testing timetables based out of Canada, based out of Saskatchewan, working with the regulator nationally. These are the kinds of questions we're talking about, and this is what underscores our proposal for that Research Center of Excellence at the U of S, the centerpiece of which, to be sure, is the isotope production. We've got the minds to do it. We have the intuitive, brilliant minds in our province, at our campuses, and in industry to get that done. One of my favorite authors is Thomas Friedman. He's written those seminally important books on globalization, The Lexus and the Olive Tree, and The World is Flat, and more recently, Hot, Flat, and Crowded. And recently in the Scientific American, Friedman was quoted as saying, "In a world that's hot, flat, and crowded, clean power and clean technology are going to be a currency of geopolitical and military power every bit as much as tanks, planes, and nuclear missiles have been." Well, ladies and gentlemen, if innovative energy technology is going to be the new power currency, I want jurisdictions that are represented in this room today, I want Canada to be the Federal Reserve of that new currency. And I'd like Saskatchewan to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve of that new currency. We're not going to wait for what's happening elsewhere, though. We are going to continue to try to provide leadership, with some risk certainly to the resources that governments are tasked to steward. We have worked hard to receive the federal money that was referenced by Garner with respect to the large-scale Boundary Dam Clean Coal Project, and we're working very hard on the demonstration project, not just with the state of Montana, but with the U.S. administration, with the Obama administration, and here in Canada with our national government. Here I want to acknowledge the federal government, who have done, I think, a great job of working with the provinces to match plans that the provinces have and money that the provinces have with the initiative and resources of the national government. We wouldn't be where we are in either project without them, and while there's still more work to be done on the Montana piece, with our respective national governments, we're very hopeful because of what we've seen in terms of interest from both of those. Some of the cutting-edge concepts now that are being developed as a result of certainly the larger scale project at Boundary are garnering attention from around the world. We're in the midst of some interesting discussions on both projects and just generally with CCS, with leading researchers from the United States and Japan. We're hoping these discussions will lead to the development of the second generation technologies. We know the price problem in terms of, you know, how much of a price do you need on carbon for some of this technology to make sense today. We're not in this for today. We're in this for the longer term, and that speaks to the importance of second generation and third generation technology. And here again, SaskPower has been a leader, and will continue to work hard to ensure that leadership position is supported with the resources of government. We have also been trying to get this message out to not just to industry, but to other policymakers around the world. We hosted the first ever congressional delegation to Saskatchewan on the issue of CCS. That just happened in the fall. We had Senator Lindsey Graham and his counterpart from North Carolina, Senator Hagan, and an official, the Associate Director of the White House Council of Environmental Quality, who works directly for Carol Browner, who we met with in a subsequent meeting in November, to showcase what is happening both at Weyburn, that the storage technology works, but also